Perhaps the greatest irony of World War II is that, amidst the thunderous roar of innovation and destruction, one of its most pivotal figures steered his course through conviction and clarity. Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, a man not originally destined for naval glory, crafted a naval strategy that would not only shape the outcome of the war in the Pacific, but also redefine maritime combat for generations to come. His 10 principles, often spoken of in hushed tones of reverence among military strategists, were a tapestry of simplicity and genius, born not from grandeur, but from necessity and foresight. It's surprising to learn that these principles almost seem like common sense today, yet they were revolutionary at a time when the world's fate hung in the balance. How could such straightforward rules have such a seismic impact on the course of history? They offered not a magical blueprint for victory, but a disciplined path to success. A military doctrine so profound that its essence still reverberates in naval operations today, decades after the guns of World War II fell silent. The man at the center of this storm, Chester W. Nimitz, was not born into the tides of military dynasties. His early life was not marked by privilege, but rather by the typical struggles of an American growing up at the turn of the 20th century. Born on February 24, 1885, in the small town of Fredericksburg, Texas, Nimitz was raised by his widowed mother and grandfather. His grandfather, a former sea captain, instilled in him a sense of order and purpose that would later serve him well in his naval career. At the United States Naval Academy, Nimitz demonstrated a sharp mind, finishing 7th in his class in 1905. His career, ranging from submarine command to operational strategy, endowed him with a breadth of experience that was rare among his peers. By the time the clouds of war began looming over the Pacific, Nimitz was a seasoned and discerning officer known for his uncanny ability to anticipate the enemy's next move. The real test for Nimitz came on December 7, 1941, a date that lives in infamy. The surprise attack on Pearl Harbor thrust him into a chaotic and unflinching reality. Just weeks after this catastrophic blow, he was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the United States Pacific Fleet on December 31, 1941. The war in the Pacific was mired in uncertainty. The Japanese Imperial Navy was on the move, their island-hopping campaign leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. American naval resources were spread thin, and morale was at a precarious low. Nimitz faced the daunting task of rebuilding a crippled fleet while confronting a fiercely determined adversary who had the advantage of momentum and experience in early 1942. The enormity of the task was as vast as the Pacific Ocean itself, and traditional strategies seemed inadequate, given the scale and nature of this new kind of warfare. The core challenge was how to counter an enemy that was, at that point, so decisively entrenched across the Pacific Islands. Faced with a seemingly insurmountable series of challenges, Nimitz knew that a radical approach was required. His response was not to deploy overwhelming force in a head-on collision with the Japanese fleet, but rather to rethink entirely how naval warfare would be conducted. The essence of Nimitz's response lay in simplicity, married to cutting-edge technology and exacting human insight. One of his first directives was to maintain flexibility in his plans, to absorb information quickly, and to adapt with unwavering resolve. He believed in decentralizing command to encourage initiative among his field commanders, empowering them to respond to shifting conditions without waiting for orders. Nimitz knew that submarines and aircraft carriers would be the linchpins of a new naval order, shifting focus away from battleships, which were traditionally seen as the embodiment of naval power. He emphasized the importance of communication security and intelligence, famously assisted by breakthroughs in code breaking such as those achieved by the Navy's cryptologists deciphering Japanese plans. His understanding of logistics was unmatched. He realized that victory depended not just on having the most advanced fleets, but also on efficiently supplying and maintaining those fleets over vast distances. His principles extended to fostering international cooperation, recognizing that Allied efforts needed coordination to counteract Japan's early advances in the Pacific theater of war. The Battle of Midway in June 1942 stands as the climactic embodiment of Nimitz's strategic vision. Prior to Midway, Japanese forces had achieved a string of victories primarily due to their surprise tactics and the formidable presence of their aircraft carriers. However, Nimitz's commitment to intelligence and trusting the decentralized judgment of his commanders enabled him to outwit the Japanese. Thanks to deciphered Japanese communications, American forces knew the time and location of the planned attack. Nimitz's decision to engage the Japanese carriers with his own limited carrier group was a calculated risk. It was a high-stakes game of chess played out on the vast ocean expanses. Commanders like Admiral Frank Jack Fletcher and Rear Admiral Raymond Spruance executed strategies with precision at sea, inflicting irreparable damage to Japan's carrier strength. In just a few days, American forces sank 4 Japanese carriers, turning the tide of the Pacific War decisively in favor of the Allies. It was a staggering reversal that demonstrated the potency and foresight of Nimitz's strategic principles. The aftermath of World War II saw the world standing on the brink of a new era, one in which maritime supremacy played a crucial role in geopolitics. Nimitz's strategy laid the groundwork for a naval doctrine that emphasized flexibility, intelligence gathering, and aerial power, all elements that became standard operational procedure for the United States Navy. His principles echoed through future conflicts, illustrating their enduring relevance. Post-war, Nimitz served as Chief of Naval Operations from 1945 to 1947, overseeing the demobilization of the wartime fleet while transitioning the Navy into a peacetime posture. Nimitz's strategic intelligence and innovative mindset were studied and revered by military academies worldwide, integrated into modern naval warfare training as core tenets that underpin today's maritime strategies. His role in the war solidified the aircraft carrier-centered fleet concept, which remains the centerpiece of many nations' navies. The story of Nimitz and his 10 principles offers profound insights into the nature of warfare in the modern age. It underscores the importance of adaptability and innovation in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. It reminds us that the course of history can be shaped by those willing to question established doctrines and, if necessary, cast them aside. Moreover, the strategic mind of Nimitz invites us to reflect on how leaders emerge in times of crisis, finding pathways through complex problems not by might alone, but by foresight and strategic clarity. His beliefs in empowering subordinates and leveraging technology show us that even in the most trying times, intelligence and collaboration are the keystones of victory. Perhaps the greatest lesson of Nimitz's strategy is that success is not confined to the strength of arms, but extends to the strength of ideas and leadership. As we draw this journey to a close, consider the legacy of Nimitz and its relevance today. If you find yourself fascinated by the intersection of history, strategy, and leadership, consider subscribing for more captivating tales of World War II. Reflect on how innovations from the past continue to inform the present, and join us as we delve deeper into the stories that shaped our world. Thank you for watching, and remember to keep exploring the currents of history that flow through our lives.